Mums with Hustle podcast, episode 494.
Welcome to the Mums with Hustle podcast, where you'll discover everyday mum entrepreneurs killing it in their industry. Learn the secrets you can replicate to create your own success with your host, Tracy Harris.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but I feel like some people do. And it was, I don't know, by chance, a couple of weeks ago, I think my hubby stumbled across this photo, or I did. I can't remember the details, but I found a photo in my camera roll from the 29th of July, 2017. There it is. First of all, my nails are so short. What is going on? No, they are red. Such a classic Tracy color to choose. But no, it's not about the nails. The photo is of a piece of paper, a scrappy piece of paper, creased, handwritten, and simple. But it holds a moment in time when I felt like my world was unbearably heavy. Now, whether or not you agree that it was or it wasn't, that's not what we're having a conversation about. To me, it felt heavy. And at the time, I had been diagnosed with severe anxiety and depression, clinically diagnosed. And I tried talk therapy. I actually had two different psychologists. One was male, one was female. And while I believe in talk therapy, it didn't give me what I was yearning for at the time, which was movement and progress and healing. And so I sought a different path, which was brand new to me. And I didn't even know what it was, but it was kinesiology. And so through muscle testing, my kinesiologist and I uncovered these 3 affirmations. And let me open up my phone so that I can read them to you from that photo of that piece of paper. And these 3 affirmations really became my anchors. And she shared with me recently, actually, just in a conversation that her and I were having. I'm not currently seeing her. I haven't seen her for years. I haven't seen her since this time, I think, because it really worked. Isn't that incredible? And I'm happy to share more about that at another time. But she shared with me very recently that there's actually a danger in saying affirmations that you don't truly believe on a subconscious level. They can actually cause more harm than good. And when she explained this to me, she used the analogy of sandpaper rubbing up against your skin. It's causing friction. It's causing pain because you don't believe that whatever the affirmation is possible for you, or you don't believe the statement about yourself. If you're repeating an affirmation to yourself, for example, I don't know, let's just pretend that you were saying repeatedly to yourself that you're incredibly beautiful and worthy of love. And if you are not believing that, and in fact, if your thoughts are completely the opposite, and now you're saying affirmations that are in your body not feeling true, not only do they not feel true, but they act as almost reinforcement of the thing that you do believe. And so it can be more damaging. So this is why she uses muscle testing on her patients, on her clients, to come up with affirmations that do feel like truth in your body. And so what I'm going to share with you are the 3 affirmations that we came up with that she wrote down on this piece of paper and that I had to repeat to myself twice daily for 2 weeks. And what they illustrate to me, looking back, first of all, I can't believe that I took a photo of the piece of paper. I'm really glad that I did, because it can sometimes feel like a completely different life or a completely different person when I think about how debilitating my anxiety and depression was. And when I compare how I think and how I lead, how I respond to challenges, my zest for life, like everything, my joy, the level of peace that I have in my body. It is just like night and day compared to this time. And so I'm sharing this with you because if you are in a place where you aren't feeling your happiest, you don't have peace in your body, you're filled with anxiety or worry or stress, don't think that you can't have peace in abundance and that you can't have happiness in abundance. But for me, one of the anchors was these affirmations, and I'm going to share them with you because it demonstrates the level of self-trust that I had and trust in anything. Like I didn't have any trust. For me, anxiety was not having trust, like so much fear, so much worry about everything and anything all the time, and feeling like a failure, feeling like I couldn't trust myself. And at the same time, I was trying to grow a business. So you can imagine how that presents in your business, like constantly doubting your worth, doubting whether anyone is going to want to work with you, doubting the content that you're creating and putting out there, doubting every decision that you make. And it can cause you to be stuck in action, fight, flight, or just a freeze. And life just doesn't feel good. And it's supposed to feel good. It's supposed to feel amazing and abundant. That's not to say that you don't have challenges. No, the challenges and the difficulties in your day still pop up, but they no longer stop you in your tracks and they don't cause you as much pain. Like you're not attached to those things. You see yourself and the world as so much bigger, and things aren't happening to you, things are happening for you, and you have hope. And it's all got a purpose. It's all leading somewhere. Everything is happening for you and it feels so much more supportive. Anyway, these are the 3 affirmations that she wrote down on this piece of paper for me because they tested in my body. My muscles said, yes, Tracy believes these. And so these became my medicine. The first one was, I trust myself to feed the boys. I could trust myself. As a daily minimum, even on my lowest day, I could trust myself to feed my boys. And I wrote that down. Well, she wrote that down for me. And that felt like truth. And that felt a lot. That felt like something to be proud of. I can rely on myself for that. And it was so important to identify that, something I could rely on myself for, something that mattered so much, and to write that down and to repeat that to myself twice a day for 2 weeks. The next one was, I trust myself to clean my teeth. I trust myself to clean my teeth. I can trust myself to clean my teeth. I wrote that down. And that may seem like, if you've never been in a place like that before, that may seem so ridiculous, or it may seem so unhygienic, like, ew, of course you trust yourself to clean your teeth, or I really hope that you're brushing your teeth, Tracy. But that was the level that I was starting from when I was growing my business in those early days, and when I was a mum in those early days. And it wasn't the business that stressed me out. It wasn't being a mum that even stressed me out. It was a really, for me at the time, traumatic re-entry into the workplace as a teacher and then exit out of that workplace as a teacher. That kind of was the catalyst or the perfect storm for my mental health decline. And like, if I was to go through those experiences now, it wouldn't have that effect on me in the slightest. But at the time, it did. And so my whole world came undone, and I had to rebuild myself from this place. That self-confidence, that self-trust was gone. And so I had to cling to things that I could trust myself to do. And so reading that it was basic things like feeding your kids and brushing your teeth, like, that makes me so sad for her. But I'm so happy that she went and got help for herself. Okay, the third affirmation was, I trust myself to stay steady in the pursuit of goals. And that's because I've always been a woman that can set a goal and then go and do it. And I think that was a really big one to write down. Like, from the earliest age, I remember if I had something that I wanted to achieve, or whether it was a spelling word in grade 2 as an 8-year-old, I wanted to learn the word encyclopedia. And I asked my teacher, can I have this as a bonus spelling word? I really want to learn this word. And so I studied it and I practiced it, and I had mum test me on it during the week. And on Friday I went in and I got Mrs. Black to test me on that word. And I spelled the word correctly. So, whether it was from that all the way through to whatever other things I wanted to achieve, like even as an adult, wanting to do a triathlon, wanting to do pull-ups, wanting to ride a scooter, wanting to move to Bali, wanting to start a business, like whatever it is, like I set a goal and I can rely on myself as being the woman to stay steady in pursuit of those goals because I have got grit. I really do. And so even in the depths of my anxiety and depression, I had grit. I was like, I can rely on myself for that. And at that time, I was in the early years of building this beautiful business, which still stands today. And I'm really glad that I didn't give up on that in the process of everything else, like mentally and in my body, like everything feeling so messy. I never let that get in the way of pursuing my goals and my vision. I just gave myself the grace to do it my way and with boundaries and with honoring my own self-care and my own rest and my own way of mothering and keeping my own hours and just like running my own race and putting the blinders on and not looking at every other person on the internet and seeing what they're doing and how many hours they're doing and getting caught up. Like I just was like, you know what? I have a goal and I have an action plan and I'm just going to go small steps every day. And that's what I say to my ladies in the Social Method Society, in Freedom Filled Business, in my mastermind. It really is as simple as small aligned steps, just little ones. And for me, it was, I trust myself to feed the boys. I trust myself to clean my teeth, even on the hardest of days. And I trust myself to stay steady in pursuit of my goals because I've never shown myself that I'm not that type of person. And so we started there. They were my affirmations. So they weren't even business goals. They weren't revenue targets. They were just basic life affirming intentions to show up for my children, to show up for my body and for my spirit. And so I was instructed to say these affirmations twice daily for 2 weeks. And I didn't realize it then, but those 2 weeks would become part of the foundation for rebuilding trust in my life, in my motherhood, and most importantly, in myself. It wasn't about manifesting my dream life. Like it was truly about surviving until I could become thriving again. And so why am I sharing this now? Well, I'm sharing this because someone out there right now is having their own version of Tracy back in July 2017. Someone out there right now is feeling this, whether she's at the beginning stages of her business, whether she's still employed and wanting to get out, whether she is successful and is like living her freedom-filled dream. Someone out there needs to hear this. Maybe you're out there building a business while quietly carrying pain. Maybe you're out there and your goals feel so far away that brushing your teeth feels like a win. Maybe you're waiting for permission just to start small and still calling it healing. So this is what I want you to remember. You are allowed to begin where you are. You don't have to start with all of your ducks in a row. You can begin where you are. This is where I was. You can begin from where you are. Where you are is the most perfect place to begin. You are allowed to write basic affirmations and call them radical because they work. In fact, I encourage you to write basic ones because they are radical. You are allowed to walk away from what isn't helping and to trust a different path. And for me, it was, the talk therapy isn't getting me where I want to go. It felt like the sandpaper analogy to me. And that's not to say that it would forever feel like that. No. Or that it's going to feel like that for every person. No. Try it. It might be the thing for you, but it's okay to even have a variety of modalities, right? And today, I lead women in business. I teach content strategy. I coach high-performing leaders to develop their own online education and coaching programs, and to do it in a freedom-filled, very aligned way. But this is where I started. And I hope that from this, you can see that no matter where you're starting from, you really can build a life of freedom, of joy, and of deep purpose. Because if I can, you really can too. So I'll leave you with this journal prompt or something to ponder, or go and have this conversation with a friend. Or if you are in my communities, let's have the conversation in there. What is one small, steady thing that you can trust yourself with today? Small. What is one small, steady thing that you can trust yourself with today? And as you prove to yourself, like, yes, I've done it. I can prove to myself that I can do this consistently for a week. Like, you're building that self-trust, or for 2 weeks, whatever it is, you can start to shift the affirmations into something else. And what was, what I wrote down, it was like, these were my minimums, like, on my hardest of hard days, that's what I could rely on myself for. And slowly but surely, those things shift, and you increase your capacity. And then one day you look back and you just say, wow, look at how far I've come. And then we don't abandon all of our self-love, our self-care. We don't abandon that ever. We work on maintaining that through supportive nervous system regulation, through habits that keep us healthy and happy and thriving. And inside of my freedom-filled business mentorship, we do that through my Fresh framework for female leaders and highly intelligent women. That's what we use. And we develop daily practices around each of those pieces of Fresh: fitness, relationships, environment, self, and hustle, which is our work. So I hope that this episode reminds you of how powerful you are and how much you really can change from where you are into what you want to become. You are that incredible. And sometimes we just need a reminder of that. So I hope that this episode serves as that reminder. And that's it. I can't wait to hear from you. Like, what from this episode connected, landed? What are you wondering? Do you have any follow-up questions? Feel free to leave a comment or email me hello@mumswithhustle.com. And just thank you for being here. And thank you for allowing me to share my story, my journey with truth. And I hope that it has helped at least one person, because that's what this is about. Take care.